Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2015 Mayor's Awards celebration. An evening under the stars, celebrating all of you, our commissioners, committee members, and task force representatives. This evening, we honor all of the wonderful work you do to make Pleasanton the place it is and to celebrate your accomplishments over the last year. The City Council relies heavily on the people you see around you. Concerned citizens that take a deep interest in the topics that affect our quality of life, our recreation, and our general well-being. These people come together for the betterment of the community and to give selflessly their time and attention to issues that concern all of us. So let's take a brief look at what your commissions, committees, and task forces do and some of the wonderful things they've accomplished over the last year. The quality of life in our city is directly related to the housing that's available to our residents. The Housing Commission has the task of initiating and pursuing affordable housing projects and programs that promote a broad range of housing opportunities in Pleasanton. One of their main focuses for the year was developing a work plan for projects and programs that were recently approved in the housing element. Making sure there's a plan to implement the housing element and following through on its timeline will ensure our residents have the best possible living conditions in the Valley. Along with approving the operating budgets for Cottinger Place and Ridgeview Commons, the Housing Commission also approved an affordable housing agreement with Summerhill Development. This residential development project could bring 10 condominiums to the Hacienda Business Park below market rate for low-income, first-time homebuyers. When 91% of the business community thinks Pleasanton is a good or excellent place to do business, you know that the Economic Vitality Committee has done its work. A recent survey of business needs conducted through focus groups and interviews has put Pleasanton in the top tier of great places to conduct business. Keeping all those great businesses informed and networking with other cities in the Valley is paramount to success. So the EVC has developed the Business in Pleasanton newsletter that keeps everyone up to date with what's happening in the city and promotes business education opportunities throughout the Valley. Tourism is a large contributor to our economy, and the Economic Vitality Committee strongly supports the efforts of Visit Tri-Valley and all of their events and promotions throughout the year. One of the most popular events was the Secret Psalm event that sent diners on a treasure hunt through downtown restaurants. Other collaborations help bring signature events to the Alameda County Fairgrounds and to the shops on Main Street. One of the Economic Vitality Committee's main goals is to keep Pleasanton the destination in the Valley. Keeping the look and feel of Pleasanton and planning for the future is the Planning Commission's main focus. They've reviewed a wide variety of projects this year, everything from an amendment for beekeeping to a commercial building on Main Street. Along with the Housing Commission, the Planning Commission reviewed the entire Summerhill project. The development includes 94 condominiums in 16 2- and 3-story buildings. Included in the project are a children's playground, common open areas, and more than 240 parking spaces. One of the most exciting projects of the year was a 112,000 square foot commercial development on Staples Ranch. This project will have 5 single-story buildings anchored by a major tenant and have direct access to Stone Ridge Drive. Careful planning keeps the city of Pleasanton the jewel of the Valley. One of the groups that's on the move the most is the Bicycle, Pedestrian, and Trails Committee. Their work this year helped secure funding for construction of 1.5 miles of bike and walking paths along the Arroyo Mocho Trail. Safety for our walkers and bikers in this city is of paramount concern for the BPTC. One of the most exciting things in recent past was the development of traffic signals designed exclusively for bikers and walkers. 3 more of these safety-sensitive installations went in this year on the Iron Horse Trail at Owens Drive, Hacienda Drive, and West Las Positas, making walking and biking not only safer, but much more enjoyable. The League of American Bicyclists awards medals to cities that have demonstrated great caring for their biking community, ensuring safe passage for those who choose to bike, and have adopted laws and community standards that are bike-friendly. This year, the City of Pleasanton was proud to be awarded the Bronze designation for having a community that is officially bike-friendly. Treating the environments we inherited with great care and respect is paramount to our success as a community. There's nothing more important than preserving and maintaining all of our resources, both natural and man-made. The Energy and Environment Committee's highest priority is to support the city's water conservation efforts during this difficult time of drought. With their We Conserve 25% sign campaign, public awareness of the need to conserve was highlighted, and as a result, the entire community came together to reduce use by more than 1.6 billion gallons. One of the measures that was sponsored by the committee was the installation of a recycled water infrastructure throughout the city. The first phase will connect Hacienda Business Park and the Ken Mercer Sports Park to the Purple Pipes, reducing the demand of potable water by 10%. If you've driven around Pleasanton in the last few months, you'll certainly have noticed that all the city streetlights have been converted to LED. Over 5,000 Cobra head fixtures have been replaced with the new LED fixture that not only reduces the energy demand, but drastically reduces the maintenance cost associated with keeping our lights lit. It's just one more example of forward thinking for a forward community. One of the more visible groups working on projects throughout the city is the Parks and Recreation Commission. This group makes sure we have some of the best recreational amenities to be found anywhere. In 1909, the Southern Pacific Railroad built a track through town that connected Pleasanton to Martinez. It would be known as the Avon Branch. This section of track would see its last train in 1978. The right-of-way was sold to the East Bay Regional Park District, and a 1.1-mile section stood unused until 2010, when the Parks and Recreation Commission began studying the feasibility of constructing a permanent Class 1 bicycle and pedestrian trail on the old right-of-way to complete the last section of the line. In 2011, the master plan and feasibility study for the Iron Horse Trail was approved and funding was secured by the East Bay Regional Park District, and in 2013, construction began. August of last year saw the completion of the project with a ribbon cutting at Creekside Park. This section of the trail is now a highly praised portion of Pleasanton's Iron Horse Trail. The City of Pleasanton's main public works center was for years at the corner of Vervis and Main Street. This address was at the edge of town and a good location to serve all of the residents at that time. Over the years, the city grew and the operations center was moved off of Main Street, and plans were made to someday transform the lot into a park. 2 years ago, the 3 Rotary clubs approached the city with an idea to commemorate Rotary's 50th anniversary in Pleasanton. The idea was to renovate the lot into a park, install a commemorative clock tower, and rename the area to Rotary Park. On April 30th of this year, the new Rotary Park was opened and dedicated to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Rotary in Pleasanton. You know something good is happening when you see heavy equipment start working. The Bernal Community Park Phase 2 construction is now underway. This phase includes 3 lighted synthetic fields, 3 parking areas, a large picnic area, a children's play area, and lighted pathways. Along with all of the other features, 40 acres of oak woodlands will also be developed, completing the park and giving Pleasanton another first-class amenity. They say public art says a lot about the community. Well, if that's the case, we're a wonderfully diverse and colorful community surrounded by interesting and aesthetically pleasing works of art. The Civic Arts Commission is primarily responsible for guiding the city's art in public places and future acquisitions. The Council recently approved the Commission's Cultural Arts Plan. The plan lays out 9 goals and 36 strategies for the future of art planning in Pleasanton. The Commission has already begun working on some of the goals set out in the plan. But art is not limited to sculpture or painting. Poetry is also one of the fine arts that was encouraged by the Commission last year by appointing 2 teen poet laureates. They've encouraged writing, composition, and reciting poetry throughout the year and have done an amazing job of advocating for youth literary arts. Every corner with a traffic signal is now a potential location for art in public places. This year, the Commission began Project Paintbox, which asks artists from around the Bay Area to submit hand-painted designs for consideration for installation on our signal boxes. We now have 8 delightfully decorated boxes, with 3 more on the way in the near future. Who knew traffic could be so beautiful? The future of our community lies in its youth, and it is with that thought in mind that the Youth Commission once again, along with the Pleasanton Unified School District, sponsored the Youth in Government Day. A day filled with opportunities to observe the inner workings of their local government in action. Over 40 students had the chance to shadow their governmental leaders in a day filled with learning and participating in the daily operations of a mid-sized city. The Commission takes great pride in giving these young leaders a chance to see firsthand great leadership in action. When 2 commissions hold a joint meeting for the first time, it can only be called historic. The Youth Commission held a joint meeting with the Human Services Commission to set plans to collaborate on future projects and services and to begin working together toward common goals. The health risks of smoking and secondhand smoke are undeniable. So the Youth Commission took the initiative to promote an amendment to the smoking ordinance which would ban smoking in all public parks. They presented their idea to the Human Services Commission and the Park and Recreation Commission, and with their approval, they presented the final ordinance to the City Council. In July, the Council approved the amendment to the ordinance, and we can now breathe a little easier in our parks. Making sure those who want to participate in city programming and identifying possible barriers to participation was one of the projects the Human Services Commission took on last year. They reviewed and revised the almost 20-year history of city's fee assistant programs and began a new collaboration with the Pleasanton Unified School District in an effort to conduct outreach to the underserved children and their families. Action Item 2 of the Human Services Needs Assessment Strategic Plan focused on community engagement. To fulfill that action item, the Commission provided representation at 2 new groups, P-Town Life Resource Network and the Tri-Valley Poverty Awareness Initiative. As part of the annual Housing and Human Services Grant Program, the Commission reviewed 24 grant applications this year. These applications provide vital health social services to our community. The Commission recommended to the City Council to approve all of the grant applications. The Alviso Adobe Strategic Plan Task Force was created to take the Alviso Adobe Community Park to the next level. After 5 years of continuous operation, it was time to take a look at what the park could become with some minor improvements and additional resources. The task force engaged the public and all interested parties in forming the plan, and the result was 6 guiding principles, 4 goals, and 16 supporting strategies that will aid in future decision-making for the programs and the property. The plan was approved by the City Council in July, and the staff will soon begin working with the task force on implementation. One of the most historic and honored places in our town is 5780 Sunol Boulevard, or better known as the Pleasanton Pioneer Cemetery. Since we're the owners of an operating cemetery, the City Council established the Pioneer Master Plan Oversight Committee to work directly with PGA Designs on developing a comprehensive master plan for the site. A plan that includes in part celebrating the history of the site, recommending landscaping improvements, honoring the veterans interred there, and operating and maintenance guidelines just for a start. The plan also includes a business model for future burials and long-term projections for operating costs and overhead expenses. The City Council adopted the plan in November, and the city staff is now working on implementation of this historically significant project. One of the most visited buildings in the city is the library. Over 500,000 people take advantage of our great facility each year, so it's no wonder that the Library Commission was pleased to send a representative to join the new Civic Center Library Master Plan Task Force, a dedicated group that looks at all the needs of the Civic Center area and makes recommendations as to size and location of future facilities. The Commission also worked closely with the Friends of the Pleasanton Library to support their book sales and other fundraising efforts, and created a new library foundation. The foundation is modeled after the Firehouse Arts Foundation and will provide necessary funding for some of the construction needs. Once a year, these dedicated and devoted members of these great commissions, committees, and task forces assemble to be recognized for their outstanding contributions. The work all of you do is invaluable to our community, our way of life, and our future. Without all of you, Pleasanton wouldn't be what it is today or what it will be tomorrow. One of the greatest cities to call home. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations on a job well done.